which is our top 10. That is the top 10 ways to avoid financial slavery.
All right, let's move on to number one. What's number one?
Number one, you want to have a safety net.
All right, so have a real safety net. Okay, so what do you mean by safety net?
So
like,
safety
what does that mean?
net is
Just money in the
basically
bank?
having money in the bank. Usually financial planners will suggest three months. Depending on the times, if we end up hitting a Great Recession type situation,
Which
you might
we may be hitting.
Yeah, you might want to be closer to 12 months. And honestly, that's really not realistic.
It really isn't.
But it is realistic if you're able to temper needs and wants and
Right.
realize that there is a difference between what you need and what you want.
And society, the way marketing has programmed us, they've programmed us to get our wants right away. That's
Correct.
how they want us to spend money. And I think this is why you can see China they wanted the people to spend money, and because the Chinese they're savers. Asians are savers, guys. I remember when I saw some data on this. The people over in Asia saved more than Americans, even though their economies were much smaller, but cost of living was cheaper also. Anyway, let's move on. Number two.
Yeah, number two.
Don't vacation on credit. So that sounds kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Don't go take out a loan.
Don't take out credit card debt to go on a vacation, because you're going to be maybe less stressed on your vacation, but you're going to get back from your vacation in 3 days, a week, maybe 2 weeks if you're lucky. And then you're going to be stressed about paying off that debt.
Yeah, I mean, that sort of makes sense, but there are people who are tempted to do this. And once again, finance institutions don't make money unless they lend money. So they will try to get you to borrow money for a vacation. Don't be surprised if you see on Instagram or Facebook, finance this vacation, this cool vacation to here, and Instagram. Don't be scammed, guys. Don't.
Yeah. I mean, and be smart about it, because I have a friend who basically went on a $20,000 vacation. He only makes about $30,000 a year.
Not good.
So that was
Not
a
good.
bad financial decision.
All right, number three.
Don't depend on overdraft protection. So
That's an interesting one. All right, break that down. What is?
So basically, a lot of people are like, okay, well, if I don't have money in the bank, I'll just overdraft and, I'll pay the fees. But it's kind of like when I used to turn my homework in late in high school a lot. I would automatically lose 10%, 20%,
Right.
So then
Overdraft
at a
protection. That
certain
makes
point,
sense.
if you're going to pay it, if you're going to do the homework, just do it on time.
Right.
Or don't do it at all,
Don't do it. Don't pay your bills at all, guys. That's the message, all right? Don't pay at all.
But that'll take you down to the off the grid living. But.
Off the grid living, real quick. All right, number four. Become disciplined with spending. That's hard to do with all the marketing messaging. Buy this, Instagram this, vacation, time for
I want
vacation.
you to think about this. If you're looking at an iPhone 10 versus an iPhone 14, do they really look that different?
No. Are they really that different? No.
Yeah, so the point is, you have to work on identifying needs and wants and knowing that there's a difference.
Once again, all right, needs and wants. All right, number five.
Okay, number five. Drive something that is within your means.
Within your means. So I can't finance a Range Rover? What does this mean?
Yeah, exactly. The average car that's being sold in the United States, the average new car sold in the United States is around $48,000 now.
Wow, I did not know that.
And that's the average. So you're doing pretty well if you're getting a $40,000 car. But the fact is, if you look at how much people actually make, the average person can't afford a $40,000 car.
Interesting. Hey, I drive a $20,000 Toyota, so I'm good. And I recommend hybrid. I went and got a hybrid to make a point, spend less at the gas pump. So if I'm getting 47 miles per gallon in my hybrid, and you're getting 23, I'm paying half for gas that you are.
Yeah.
Those numbers on the pump, I'm paying half. So you might want to consider that.
I used to get 45 miles a gallon. Now I have a vehicle that gets 23 miles a gallon, but that's because I'm a climate activist now.
Right.
Like the ones that fly around in planes and waste a bunch of...
You want to join in on the activism. Yeah. All right, so number six.
Okay, number six. Stop cutting it close with your home.
Break that down. What does that mean?
Basically, when you're looking into a mortgage, people oftentimes will take the 30-year mortgage, and now there's some products out there that are a 40-year mortgage. I don't know if you've seen
I
them.
heard it's gone up a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, is it 40? Yeah, 40, yeah.
Homes are so unaffordable.
Inflation.
And people buy based on, they have this idea now of, this
Joneses?
is my dream home.
The Joneses?
Yeah,
Anyway.
the Joneses, which are everyone, and your dream home. And you look back just a generation ago, 2 generations ago, you might have a family live in their home their entire life. And then the following generation also lives in that home.
Right.
But now, with how people move around and
They do
they
that in
view
Singapore.
homes, they say, well, I need to have my dream home.
You know, we talked about early in the segment. We talked about an like a sort of an interface where a guidance counselor could plug in different values. There needs to be a value for the Joneses. Okay, what's your zip code?
Yeah.
You put that in, and it's like, okay, so. But it's interesting. Here's an interesting fact before we move on to the next one. When they value homes, they look at the houses around. So that's sort of a Joneses mentality.
Oh, yeah.
They're looking at this house and this house. What's this one worth? Okay, cool. This is what your house is worth. So it's sort of-
summarizing it.
Yeah. So your zip code kind of makes sense, and what maybe your address
When we're looking at cars and houses, live and buy below your means.
below your means. I say cut back. Anyway, let's move on. Number 7, what you can afford.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, look, there is a market for fast fashion. I was listening to a show today. There's a company called, I think it's called Shein, SHEIN. They're basically selling like $5 items, and I think this more refers to women. And it was actually Claudia Jordan. She was talking about it, how she'll wear one because she's in media. She's not going to be wearing like Louis Vuitton and Gucci on the set every day. It's unaffordable. So fast fashion, if you're shopping at Zara or H&M, they allow you to wear things that look a certain way, but they're cheaper, $20, $30.
Let me tell you, Bart, I grew up outside of Washington, D.C., and as an elementary school student there, what shoes you wore was really important. And
Right.
so I moved from there to Oregon to finish up elementary school. And at the beginning of 8th grade, I stepped on this kid's shoes, and he had brand new shoes.
What were they, Nikes?
They weren't. They were probably like Pro Wing Eagles or something
some
from
brand new Pro Wings from Payless?
from Payless, yeah. But, if you did that on the East Coast where I grew up, it would really cause a problem.
It's like a murder.
Yes, it was like a
Especially
murder.
if they're Nikes.
They were Air Jordans. Like, that's what people
Jordans are
wanted.
dead. Yeah,
they
yeah.
wanted the Air Jordans or they wanted the Reebok pumps.
I remember when back in the late 80s, early 90s, you'd hear about people getting their shoes stolen on the subways in New York.
Yeah.
Hey, what size are those?
But anyways,
About a size 11, right?
I remember what he said. I stepped on his shoes. He said, and I said, hey, I'm really sorry. Are you okay? And he was like, yeah, I'm okay. They're just shoes. And it was a totally different perspective.
Because they were Pro Wings.
Yeah, and it's and the thing is, he didn't differentiate. So, wear what you can afford. It's if you're going to be so stressed about it getting damaged, then maybe you shouldn't be wearing it.
All right, let's go to the next one. Number 8.
Do the work yourself. And
All
this
right.
is basically, you have people who get someone else to cut their grass.
We got
And
robots for that now.
Yep, and they'll just sit
AI,
there.
guys, AI.
If you can do landscaping, just get a book, look up a DIY video on YouTube. You don't have to pay someone else if you have the time to do it. It's okay to pay someone to do something when it's going to take away from your work.
Here's an idea for those, I like to solve problems. For a business idea, if you guys are interested in business, we've got a couple minutes left in our segment. Let's say you have a business where you buy a whole bunch of robotic lawnmowers, and now you set up your business and you put the robot to go cut while you're doing something else. You could be setting up another robot in another yard somewhere, and it's making you money, but you don't have to be on the actual robot or controlling it. It's doing all the work. So what it does is it cuts down on labor. You don't have to have as many people. So that's a little business idea for you guys. So do the work yourself. Number 9. Do whatever it takes. Break that down. What do you mean by that?
Basically, you have to figure out how to solve the problems in your life. Your problems are different than mine. And ultimately, you are the person who is responsible with either talking to friends, coming up with the solution to your financial problems until the government steps in and does it for you. But
Until they come to help you, right?
And what did Ronald Reagan say about that? He said, the scariest words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Terrifying.
Famous last words.
Yep. And finally, the last one is something that I've touched on in different ways. And that is learn to differentiate between needs and wants. As Americans, a lot of the things that we want, we don't actually need. We lie to ourselves and force ourselves to believe that we actually need them. I had a marketing professor who once said, basically, people buy on emotion and justify with logic. So, if you can differentiate between needs and wants, you will be able to reprogram your brain to work more like your grandparents' brain. Say, do we need this or do we want this?
Right.
And then you can buy on logic, not on emotion.
Right. And guys, that was our top 10.